Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Chris and Q Show. Today, I am here. I am going to be talking about a story that I just today actually just found out about this story. Apparently, it was something that's been in the headlines for a while, but I just caught wind of it and wanted to kind of go over the story with you all and talk about it with you and see how you all feel. Just have a good, healthy conversation about the situation. But first, before we do that, I do want to go ahead and get into our shout out segment. And today, I'm going to be giving myself a shout out. This is my cookbook. It's called Fake It Till You Bake It. It is a dessert cookbook. It is a beginner's guide to baking. So basically, the book will explain to you how you can take a box of cake mix, a box of brownie mix, and turn it into something that is more so homemade and made to look like it came straight from a bakery. Um, it does give you quite a few recipes, cakes, cupcakes, brownies, cookies. So anything of that nature that you're looking to make, this book is a great beginner's guide for that. It's great also for, younger people who are looking to get started somewhere. This will definitely get them where they need to be and get them started and just getting them in the kitchen and getting them more acclimated with baking. The book itself can be purchased on Amazon. The book can be searched by either the title of the book, which is Fake It Till You Bake It, or it can be searched by my name. So if you all are in the market for, something fun to do, oh my gosh, this is great to use when you want to do like something with your kids at home. The kids want to, hey, let's make cupcakes and let's make it, something more than just how the box tells us. This is a great book for that. So I will leave the link in the bio where you can purchase the book. It is a great gift option. This book, I've been told by many people who have purchased it, they have tried several different recipes in it and they love them. So I would definitely suggest getting this as a gift for someone. And just as a little nugget, book number two will be out soon. Book number two is a little more detailed. Just as a little, background on book number two is going to be geared towards couples. And that's all I'm going to say. All right. So, to get into today's topic of discussion, I was watching something on YouTube. Actually, I'll tell you, I was watching my homegirl Kennedy. She has two YouTube channels, and one of them is called True Crime. She talks about different crimes that have happened in the world, different times of life. Some like the story I was actually watching happened in like 1985, I want to say, but the gentlemen who were charged and, put in jail for the crime, um, that didn't happen until late 2000s. I wanna say, like, maybe early 2000s, 2003, 2004. So, yeah, I was watching that, and this story kind of popped up, and I was very intrigued by it because I said, the story is crazy. And I was just very confused because I was like, oh my God, did this just recently happen? No, this happened in March of 2023. So apparently, this story, I don't want to say, and let me just start out by saying, because I have some thoughts and some feelings about the story and the scenario and everything that happened. And I want to start out by saying I will never victim shame. That is never, ever going to be something that I do. But I do have some logical questions about the scenario and why it got as far as it did when it comes to the victim. So this story comes to us from Colorado. And again, this happened in March of 2023. A dentist by the name of James Craig was charged with unaliving his wife by poisoning her pre workout with arsenic. So, James Craig at the time was a 45-year-old dentist. Apparently, this was a popular dentistry in Colorado. He had good amount of clients. They From what I saw in the news videos, the clients, they really trusted him. They believed in him. They loved his work, all of that. Well, Mr. Craig was married to his wife. Her name was Angela Craig. They were married for 20 years and they had 6 children together. So one day, his wife drinks her protein shake that he made for her, and she started not feeling well. And she texted him and said, I have a headache and I feel dizzy. I feel drugged. His reply in the text was, I know, considering our history, and I want to make sure I get this right. His response was, given our history, I know that that can be triggering, but for the record, I didn't drug you. Remember that I said that. For the record, I didn't drug you, given our history. That for me was a red flag because I'm like, what kind of history could we have that you got to tell me that you didn't drug me? So going forward, she just kept not feeling well. She went to the hospital 3 times. 3 times she went to the hospital. He took her to the hospital. From the news reports, they're saying that James Craig was not in the hospital with his wife for most of the time that she was there because he had flown in a mistress from Austin, Texas. He was spending time with her while his wife was in the hospital fighting for her life. Meanwhile, she had been to the hospital 3 times because the doctors just couldn't figure out what was wrong with her at all. So, once things started progressing and she started to, feel worse, she ended up getting put on life support because she had a seizure while she was at the hospital the 3rd time and lost all her brain activity. They had to put her on life support. You know, that's something that happens when you have a seizure, unfortunately. So when all of this happened, the doctors were just very confused because they could not figure out what was wrong with her. Before all of this had transpired, her family knew that she wasn't feeling well. His coworkers, or he owned the dentistry office. So the women and, the assistants and everyone that worked in the office knew that something was going on with his wife. Well, a package had come to the dentistry and he had told his assistant not to open the package, but another assistant in the office didn't get that memo, and she opened it and saw what was in the package and immediately put 2 and 2 together as what was delivered versus what his wife's symptoms were, and she initially told detectives what she had found. Once that information was given, detectives found out that this gentleman had also, days before, had arsenic delivered to their home from Amazon. Now pause. Call me crazy or call me dumb, call me what you want, but I didn't know you could just order arsenic on Amazon. Like, and if you can, why is that not something that's monitored? Like, that to me, like, I don't I feel like you shouldn't be able to just go on Amazon and buy arsenic. Like, can anybody do that? Like, what? Okay. For me, that's crazy. I did not realize you could do that. Yeah, I've never heard of anybody ordering arsenic on Amazon. To me, that just was crazy and wild. So, but he did. He had it delivered to their homes. His wife, so the time, just to give you guys a timeline, his wife, Angela, started not feeling well on Wednesday. She went to the hospital 3 times. Now, what I'm not knowing for sure is if she went to the hospital, well, obviously not because she didn't pass on Wednesday. Either way, she started not feeling well on Wednesday. She went to the hospital 3 times. By Saturday, Angie passed. Angie passed on Saturday. They took her off the life support. Sunday, her husband was arrested for her murder. Monday, he was arraigned in court. So this all of this transpired in less than a week. Her sister then came out and told detectives that Angie had told her that James poisoned her, or excuse me, he drugged her 5 years prior to this. So this took place in March of 2023. 5 years prior to that, this man drugged her once. That was the first time he drugged her. His response for doing that was because he wanted to unalive himself and he didn't want her to stop him. Now, here's where my question comes in, and my question for you all. And this is why I said I will never victim shame, but I'm trying to understand, If 5 years prior to this man drugged you in an attempt, I'm assuming, to take her life, why were they still together? Where was her family? Why weren't the police involved? Or were the police involved? I don't know. We don't know the details around that first situation of him drugging her. And clearly, he didn't unalive himself. So did he even actually do anything? Did he attempt to do that self-harm to himself? Or was there no evidence of that and he only drugged her and told her that? Aside from all of that, none of that really matters to me because the only thing that matters to me is that this man drugged you and you were still with him 5 years later. Now, from the news reports and all of the different interviews that I've seen from people who have known them and been around them, people said that Angie was very family oriented. Even they said her son did an interview and said that there were so many things she wanted to do and accomplish in life, and she did not get a chance to do so because she chose to put her kids and her family first. So I'm assuming she didn't want to break up her family. I'm assuming she didn't want to change the dynamic of her household as far as her kids are concerned. Like she wanted her kids to have this two-parent household, what have you. And while I understand that, here we are in 2023 at the time anyway, and now these children don't have a mother or a father because dad's in jail, mom is gone, and dad is in jail because mom is gone. He is being charged with that. That was my main reason for wanting to talk about this story. So I looked a little deeper into it because I said, okay, this was 2023. I wondered if there's any updates. So I went on that good old World Wide Web, and it looks like Um, as recent as February 14th of this year, 2025, there has been an update to the case. So it says, Colorado dentist charged in wife's poisoning death tried to get inmate to kill detective on his case. Now, James, this man does not care. You tried to kill your wife once, went unsuccessful. And then you did it again in 2023. And it's looking like it's because you wanted to go ahead and start a new life with your mistress from Texas. This woman is also a dentist. She's from Austin, Texas. She flew out there. My other question was, did she know that this man was married and had a family, a wife of 20 years and 6 kids? I don't know. I don't know how much her involvement is. They didn't mention too much of her past, her being flued out. But to go back to him, he is now hiring, do a murder for hire. Is basically what it is. That is murder for hire. Tried to get an inmate to kill the detective on his case. It says, prosecutors on Friday are set to present evidence that a Colorado dentist charged with unaliving his wife also tried to get a fellow inmate to unalive a detective investigating him. James Craig is accused of poisoning his wife's protein shakes nearly 2 years ago, allegedly ordering a rush shipment of potassium cyanide that he said he needed for a patient after police say arsenic failed to kill her. So that's what went to the job. The arsenic was delivered to their house, and the potassium cyanide was delivered to the job, and that is what kind of busted the case wide open. Then it says, late last year, prosecutors filed new charges against him, solicitation to commit murder and solicitation to commit perjury. The charging document did not say who Craig allegedly wanted to have killed, but police in Aurora, Colorado, have confirmed the intended target of the alleged murder plot was a detective on the case. Prosecutors are scheduled to present more details about what they believe happened during a hearing Friday afternoon in order to convince a judge that Craig should also be prosecuted for those charges during his trial. So now he's not only facing the charges from his wife, now he is going to be facing new charges for trying to unalive this detective and commit perjury. Craig's trial has been delayed and no new date has been set. A judge allowed Craig's latest lawyer, Harvey Steinberg, to withdraw from the case November 21st after he cited professional conflict, just as Craig was about to stand trial. I wonder what the professional conflict was. I wonder what it was. Did the lawyer find out that something else was going to come up and he just was like, okay, this is just too much. I don't want to be involved in this. But I wonder what it was. It says Craig has pled not guilty to first-degree murder and tampering with evidence. A telephone message left for Craig's defense lawyer, Lisa Moses and Robert Working, was not immediately returned. Angela Craig, 43, died March of 2023 of poisoning from cyanide, um, the latter a substance found in over-the-counter eye drops, according to the coroner. The couple had been married for 23 years and had 6 children together. Prosecutors allege Craig tried to elaborate and um appro con sorry, tried an elaborate scheme to put the blame on his wife. In court documents, they said he asked another former fellow inmate to find attractive women who would agree to testify at his trial that they had affairs with him, and after Angela Craig found out, they had refused to help her frame him. You, sir. Police have called James Craig's alleged plot a heinous, complex, and calculated murder. 3 of Jim and Angela Craig's 6 children are living with James Craig's brother. 48 hours reported earlier this year. The other 3 are now adults living on their own, including their daughter, Mira. On Mother's Day 2023, Mira wrote this message on social media. As of tomorrow, my mom will be 2 months gone. I haven't the words to express the heartache my siblings and I feel every day. Mira's last words in that post were, "I love you so much, Mama. We miss you." It's very crazy to me how situations like this go this far. Uh because for me, I feel like there should have been, and again, I don't know. I don't know for sure. There isn't any detail past what I said about the 5-year prior situation. But for me, if my sister texted and said that her husband drugged her and tried to, take her life, that would be a situation that we're bringing to the police and she wouldn't be going back to, whether she wanted to or not. The kids would not be there. Nobody's safe. Nobody's safe. And if you're telling me it's because he said he wanted to cause harm to himself, then he also needs to go somewhere and get help. Everybody is splitting up and everybody's going to get their own kind of help. But the fact that they were still together 5 years later and he was successful in taking her life really bothers me, because I feel like all of this could have been avoided if they would have taken the initiative and stepped up and done something when it first presented itself. This man felt like he was invincible. I mean, let's call it what it is. He didn't care. He was going to. Also, I don't know. They don't say if there was an insurance policy for Angela Craig, because for him to have multiple attempts at taking her life, because again, first the 5 years ago situation with drugging her, they don't say what he used. We don't know what he used in that situation. But then to use arsenic and then the cyanide, this man was on a mission. And while I believe that this other relationship was part of the motive, I wonder if there was an insurance policy. Because what I did forget to mention is they said that on his work computer, he had searches of what kind of poisons can be used on a human being and go undetected. And then he searched what were the measurements that were needed to take someone's life using said poisons. So this man was on a mission. And to now know that he is also, as recent as February of this year, February 14th of 2025, this was updated. This man tried to take the life of a detective. He has no care in the world. No care in the world. I don't see this man seeing the light of day ever again. I don't know. I'm not sure if Colorado has the you-know-what penalty, but if they don't, he is going to be in there for life. And if they do, I feel like he's going to be a great candidate for it. I don't know. Let me know what you all think. Like I said, I hadn't heard about this situation. And again, it happened in 2023. So we are now, the last day of March. So now it's 2 years later and I hadn't heard anything about it. But when I did start digging, and TikTok has everything. There are so many videos. So if you want to go and research it or, get on the internet, it's everywhere. It's all over it. But I hadn't seen a single word about it. And this I feel like needs, this needs to be examined very thoroughly because things like this man, people like him, if he ever gets out of jail, you better believe he is going to commit the same crime again. Again. It's unfortunate. I feel very sorry for her children and her family. I don't know why somebody wouldn't just choose to leave. It just makes more sense to leave. I don't know if he was, again, they said he was grew up Mormon, their family was Mormon. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I'm not gonna ever say that that has anything to do with it. I'm just giving background. But these children lost their mother, and unfortunately, it was at the hands of their father, so now they don't have either parent. It's so much easier to just walk away and leave and be done with it. So much easier. Yeah, breakups are messy, they can be messy. They definitely can be messy. But this, taking someone's life, you can't come back from that. You cannot come back from that. Again, I am very sorry to her children and her family, and I hope they get the justice that they deserve. And this detective as well, because he didn't do anything but his job. And you want to take his life or have his life taken because you did wrong. And he's now trying to give your children justice for what you did. I don't know. But let me know how you all think, how you all feel, excuse me, and what you think about this story. Let me know if any of you have actually heard of it as well, because like I said, it was alarming to me and I hadn't seen anything about it. I hadn't seen anybody talking about it until I went and searched for it. And then I found so many different things. Um, but yeah, let's continue the discussion in the comments. And until next time, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Don't forget to click the link in the bio and get the book. Also, let me know if you all have, reached out to any of our other, small business owners. Never small business. Everybody's a big business, big business. But let me know if you've all reached out and gotten any services from any of the other businesses we've spotlighted in the last few videos. All right, everybody. I hope you all have a great day. See you next time.